Alright guys, so today's video, we've got a Peavey T40 bass. Okay, so this bass just came in, and this is Peavey, and this is when their factory was, where was it? Down in Louisiana, or, yeah, it was here in America. So this looks like swamp ash to me, and the pickguard's got some it looks like there's a lot of use on it right there, and one of the switches is broken off, but it's still got the old Peavey knobs on it. And believe it or not, these basses nowadays, made in USA Peavey bass, these things are bringing like close to $1,000, and it is heavy. So here's one thing, I can hardly lift it. I'm gonna get my scale and we're gonna weigh this thing just for fun. Here we go. Okay, here we go.
11.13.
11 pounds, 13 ounces. It's heavy. But you know what? Back in the 70s and the 80s, they equated heavy wood to good sound as far as good tone. It's good frequencies come out of it, right? So they made them heavy for a reason. Weight meant quality. So when they built this bridge and it was full of metal and everything about this, big giant magnets, they weren't interested in what the weight of the guitar was. They were looking for good tone. And back in those days, good tone meant that you had a big heavy piece of wood. It kind of looks like we have I don't know, that almost looks like a solid piece to me.
I'd say that's a solid piece.
I think that's a solid piece, because it would be, the grain is not, the grain rolls, you know, so that's a solid piece of ash. And seeing that it came from down south in America there, I'm even going to call that swamp ash.
You know what? No, I think it is 3 pieces.
Is it?
Yeah, because you can see the line right along the bottom there.
Let's look at that.
Yeah, that's 3 pieces.
Oh yeah, you got a center piece here. What about right there?
Yeah, that might be another one. Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay, so it's 3 or 4 pieces.
I think it's a 5-piece body. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Huh.
Yeah, because you can see the grain just ends.
Oh yeah, right here. Did they try to match grain, you think? A little bit?
Maybe a little bit. It flows really nicely into itself.
Yeah, it looks like they tried to, yeah, right here, but you do see a straight line right here. But again, at the end here, you can see that it's a bunch of pieces of ash put together. Leave in the comments if we're wrong, if we're totally wrong. But there's a couple of things I have to do to this now. Of course, we're going to restring it, and we're going to get the string height down, because when I had these strings, look at this, I'll tune this E string back up. And I mean, look how high up the fretboard it is right there. So we're at like 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch away. So we've got a lot of work to do to it. So I hope you guys are prepared to help me out on this one. Okay, so what's kind of strange is I actually have a body for this same bass, and it's a Peavey T40. And I'm going to put this on Reverb right now. So as of late July 2022, if you guys are looking for a nice body for this thing, you guys got a neck and all the parts. Anyhow, this thing's going on Reverb. Look for it. Okay, so I'm going to lift the pickguard. And I think even these 4 screws, there's a ton of screws holding this thing on. But, oh, and there's one right there I missed. But I think the 4 screws around these pickups are holding this down too. So I think these screws are screwed into the body as well. But I got my fingers crossed that the switch that's missing right here is actually laying down in there, and it's maybe still wired up. So that's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, here's the switch. Yeah, so the switch is broken. So what I need to do is change this switch out. One. I think it's just a two-way switch. One, wait, let me feel. 2, 3. It's a three-way switch that only has 3 wires hooked to it. Let me see what I got. Okay, so I found a switch. It has 3 little switches to it, three-way switch. And I think that's what this one is. Yeah. So let me fire up the soldering iron and I'll see if I can install this. And all we can do is hope for the best. There we go. Okay, a slight change of plans. I found one in chrome instead of the black, and I think that'll look better and be a little bit more authentic to the guitar. So we're going to install this one instead. They look, I mean, very similar, right? So we're going to go for the chrome one instead. Okay, so I got that switch in. So we're off to a great start. You just put these pickups back down in there. That was a little bit easier than I was predicting. So we did good right there. There we go. So the 4 screws that hold the pickups down, they also go right straight into the wood part of the body. So it really does, see? So you gotta take, and there's so many screws here. But I'm gonna start tightening all these screws down. And I won't make you guys suffer through watching that. So we'll be right back. Okay, it's working. Thank God. Alright, let's move on to the neck. Okay, so let's take a look. This guitar, the string height was so high. Now it looks flat now that there's no string tension on it. But we're going to tighten this truss rod, because when you get strings on this thing, the string height was really, really high. Okay, so inside the truss rod here, you might be able to see that there's a nut in there. And so, yeah, it looks very much like Gibson style. So let's just go ahead and grab the wrench that fits on a Gibson. And let's see what happens here. Oh, there it is. It's just the same as Gibson, made in USA. It's probably a 5/16. But I gave it a little tiny turn and it seems pretty loose. I think this is going to do good. Oh, there we go. I've seen the guy from StewMac give it one of these. Just try to help the truss rod work a little bit, give it a little boost. There we go, you kind of do one of these things to it. Now let's take a look with the straight edge. Oh yeah, tons of backbone now. Okay, gotta leave it, probably should leave it right there for now. A little tiny bit more. Leave it right there from now. But I'm gonna clean the frets, install some strings, and then reevaluate if I need to tighten this truss rod anymore. So let's get to those frets and shine this baby up. Okay, nice looking bridge. Let's go ahead and put some strings on this thing. Wait, one more thing. Since we're here, and since this guitar hasn't been restrung in a long time, let's just make sure that the neck plate screws are nice and tight. Okay. There we go. Let's put some strings on it. Today's string choice. Today's string choice. Ernie Ball, Super Slinky, 45 through 100s. These are going to sound so good on this thing. Ernie Ball strings, my favorite strings. Made in the USA. Ernie Ball custom gauge round wound strings. Once in a while I'll get guys asking for some flat wounds, but not very often. Okay, so the string goes down in the end like that, but it's way too long. So I think I'm going to cut it off about, let's guess about right there. There we go. Bend it over a little bit. My Ernie Ball string winder should be able to handle this. Okay, so let's take a look. How many wraps do we have around there? We have about 3 wraps. So I think that's good. And right now, so far, our string height does look pretty good. Let's go for the A string, which is an 80 gauge. Let's cut about this much off. There's 2 wraps on it. Looking good so far. Okay, so let's just check the intonation real quick, and it, to me, here's the E string, looks good. Here's our A string, that looks good. Our D string, that looks fine. And then our G string, it looks real good. It's intonated very nicely. Let's plug it in. Let's play it a little while. Let's see what it sounds like. Alright guys, so here it is. It's all strung up, it's all cleaned up, and it is ready to go. A Peavey T40, almost 12 pounds of bass thunder right here in your hands. bass guitar. Guys, come on in and check it out anytime. Give me a call. Let me know if anybody's interested. It's a Peavey T40. Thank you guys for watching. Go buy yourself a guitar.